Can I ask you about the Kursk incursion? This seemed to come as a big surprise to everybody. You obviously have very good operational security, but even your allies were surprised. Why did you do this? Let's just say from the diplomatic perspective, which you are the chief diplomat, what is the strategy behind this?
Well, first, every war of this scale that we are having has multiple theaters of war. So things happen simultaneously in different directions. And you have to constantly think how to make the life of your enemy more complicated. How to impose your will on the enemy and not endure the will of the enemy imposed on you. Second, you remember we spoke in the spring, I think, and everyone was talking about a stalemate in the war and there is nothing Ukraine can do. Ukraine cannot change the course of the war. Russia is moving, is advancing, and there is nothing Ukraine can do. And it had a direct impact in capitals among our partners in the decision-making processes. Now we showed everyone, not only we defeated the Russian army in Kursk, we defeated the argument so popular among our partners that there was a stalemate. Because now everyone sees what we've been talking about all the time. When Ukraine has everything it needs, we do not lack courage and military skill to advance and win.
So, this is something you wanted to show your partners. It's a morale boost for your own people. Was it aimed at changing a calculation in Moscow too, to Putin or people around Putin?
I don't believe in people around Putin. I think what people of Russia saw is that Putin is more efficient in grabbing someone else's land than in defending his own land. And I think this is a very important message that none of us can fully appreciate in the sense of its impact on the people of Russia. But it's there. They're talking about it. They're asking themselves questions. And now that the Russians see how the Russian army is evening with the ground, Russian villages, Russian houses, that has a very negative impact on them as well.
Talking about grabbing territory, as you know, Russians are advancing on Pokrovsk, on important logistical hubs. Was this worth it, this trade-off? Because there is, as you can tell in the chatter around, there's some anger amongst Ukrainians. They say, hang on a second, it's one thing going up there, but don't forget, we need to be able to defend the territory that we're trying to defend here. This is also really important. Can you talk to that and to the trade-off, if there is such one?
First, we do not think in terms of trade-offs. This is not our logic. We are not trading our territories. We are not trading our people. There was a clear objective to make Russia's life more difficult, and this was one of the key goals of the Kursk operation. Second, as President Zelensky stated on numerous occasions, we have taken many prisoners of war in Kursk, which will allow us to do a swap and bring our soldiers, more of our soldiers back. This is a very important issue.
And the territorial swap, possibly, is that also an issue? I mean, if you occupy however many square kilometers of Russian land, is that also a bargaining chip?
No, we don't. Again, we don't think of it in terms of swapping territories, because that will imply that we have to swap something in Ukraine, and we won't do that. But again, if we were not doing anything and Russia was still advancing near Pokrovsk, the argument would be, why you are not doing anything? We've done something that is having an impact, but it does not undermine our efforts in Pokrovsk. Of course, our generals are better fit to talk about this matter, but from what I see, again, this is a war of multiple theaters, and we should never waste an opportunity to inflict more damage on the enemy.
So, as you spoke at the beginning, the Russians see winter coming. They want to attack your energy grid like they did the first winter for sure. And you are also attacking their refineries. I mean, let's face it. And the West doesn't like that because it jacks up the price of oil. But there has been a report that there was some diplomacy potentially underway to have at least some kind of localized ceasefire on energy infrastructure for the winter that Qatar or someone else might mediate. Can you confirm that to us and tell us, this is before the Kursk incursion?
Well, ever since the large-scale invasion began, there were numerous attempts to do diplomacy against the background of the raging front line. Some initiatives were more successful than others, but first and foremost, to think that Ukraine was attacked, Ukraine is being attacked. We lost half of our energy generation as a result of Russian attacks. You don't have to bargain with them on this. They must stop it. This is, I think, clear to everyone. So I would, what I can say is that rumors that Kursk operation killed the opportunity to defend Ukraine, to stop Russian attacks on Ukraine's energy infrastructure, are largely exaggerated.
As I said, you have a delegation trying to persuade the administration to do many things. I also want to understand where you are with NATO. You were hoping for an invitation to start the process during the summer summit. It didn't come. Do you think it's going to come anytime soon?
If I didn't, I
When do you think it might?
Well, I clearly see an opportunity for that to happen before the next summit, NATO summit in the Netherlands in 2025. I think, when there is a will, there is a way. And the way is actually clear. You don't even have to look for it because by all accounts, Ukraine can receive an invitation even now, even today. Because we're not talking about imminent membership in NATO. This is just about clarifying the signal, about removing this. There is a saying, the constructive ambiguity. It's not constructive anymore. So I think for us, the issue of the invitation is still on the table. We are bringing this point up in talks with our allies, of course, first and foremost with the United States, and we want to make it very clear. We're not talking about becoming NATO member tomorrow. We're talking about extending invitation to Ukraine today.
Meantime, can you tell us about the 4-point victory plan that you're also going to present to the administration? What is that?
Let's leave it to the president. He made he made a teaser about it, and it's a very short, but in my view, very efficient way. If partners decide to support it, President will himself reveal all the details at the appropriate time.
Lastly, as we speak and as these ballistic missiles keep raining down, President Putin is in Mongolia, being received by the president there. Mongolia is a signatory to the ICC. The president has been indicted for removing Ukrainian children. What's your reaction to that?
Well,
did you talk to the Mongolians?
It's strong. Well, we told them, we sent a very clear message ahead of the visit. It was ignored. We sent a very clear message after the visit began. It seems to be ignored as well. We will be talking inside of Ukraine and also with our partners on how Mongolia's respect towards its own international obligations under the Rome Statute.
But you don't expect President Putin to be arrested while he's there?
Well, I do, but from everything I've seen so far, it seems to me that Mongolia decided to blatantly violate its obligations under the Rome Statute.
Foreign Minister Kuleba, thank you very much indeed for being with us.
Thank you.